Hi, I'm Lex Adams. I'm a retired resort executive and a former associate pastor, and this is my wife, Cheri.
And I'm a retired marriage and family therapist.
Today we're going to talk about marriage and the stresses of the current issues surrounding us that we have no control over. The COVID-19 virus has created a huge impact on a lot of people, on our whole nation. And it's a lot of rain and hurricane, and it's a long-lasting event. And it's something we have no control over whatsoever. And the impact so far rivals that of the Great Depression years, something that most of us have not experienced. And this comes then on top of our normal stresses in family life and in marriage. And so what's going to happen right now for all of us is that our foundations will be revealed and tested. If our marriage foundation is strong and on a rock, we will weather this fairly well. If our marriage relationship is shaky and built on sand, we'll suffer more damage from this. And that's also true with our relationship with the Lord. In Psalms, it says, "He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be greatly shaken." So if he's our foundation, we won't be greatly shaken, but we will be shaken, but not greatly. So we're going to share with you some tools and some thoughts to help strengthen your foundation and to work through this in your marriage during these times.
So there are three stress fractures that happen in times like this, and that will shake up your foundation. The first one is the stress that comes from outside, and we're all experiencing that right now. Some people have lost their businesses. We're dealing with isolation, shutdown, loneliness. People feel apart from other people. There's boredom going on. The news is very negative. It's scary to watch it. Don't do that, no. But it's very, very negative. There's a lot of fear. People are afraid. They're afraid they're going to get the virus. We're afraid to go shopping. We have to wear a mask. People are afraid we can't meet in our churches anymore. There's a lot of fear of the future. We see things shut down. Our beaches are shut down. Our businesses are shut down. The trails, parks are even shut down. So it's very restrictive, and it's very stressful. We've been experiencing a lot of stress. We go swimming every day. We park, and then, you can go in the water and out of the water, and we get stressed out.
Because we see security being called and coming down, and we see the police called for some reason coming down. So we just go on our normal walk, and we're like this. Are they after me? Did I do something wrong? I mean, that's real stress that we don't normally deal with.
Yes. And another stress that individual stresses and marital stresses. So we might have old childhood abuse issues or issues that are just sitting there, they're simmering. And when these things happen where we're pressured and we're put into these situations, this stuff can erupt. So we're a fairly new marriage. We've been married 4 years. We both came out of long marriages. But interestingly enough, some old stuff popped up, and we were shooting arrows at each other, and it wasn't even about us.
And it was about the silliest little thing, like what time to have dinner.
Yeah.
And it was like, where did that come from?
Yes. So the other stress factor to think about, you need to watch this, see what might pop up. It might be absolutely, you don't even know why that came, but it can be very hurtful. And then the third stress fracture, of course, is the ongoing marital issues that are there. Maybe they're not resolved. Maybe they've been just kind of shoved under the carpet because everybody's busy with life and what's been going on. And now you're sitting there and you have these things that have not been dealt with, maybe not talked about, and they start popping up because of the stress. Also because you're together all the time and too much time to think. So these are three But be aware of those. They're going to come up, and they will shake the foundation of your marriage for sure.
And with the stresses that we're all living under right now, and it's really epic. We haven't experienced this. It's natural to have negative emotions surface. It's okay. They will surface. They will come to the top. And sometimes you'll even be tempted to step in a direction of a not healthy coping mechanism. That's okay to think about it, but don't go that way. My personal emotions and thoughts that I've been wrestling with, I felt trapped. I feel I'm trapped. I get irritable because of that. I feel sadness when I see what's going on and people affected. I have resentment. I feel oppressed. It's like there's a cloud of oppression on me. I feel depression at times. I feel angry at times. And I feel helpless. And that really drives me crazy. We're retired. And so we're concerned about our retirement nest egg because we're affected. Everybody's being affected by this financially in one way or another.
And then I've been dealing with depression and worry and anxiety, and I'm a little bit of a worrier, and fear. A couple weeks ago, I told Lex, man, we've got to go. We live in Reno part-time, so we've got to get on a plane. We're not going to be able to get out of here. I actually had panic. So fear and anxiety are big for me, and I've worried about everybody I know, everybody I love, the country, everything. So there they are. Those emotions are going to be there.
One of my greatest stresses is I can't get a haircut. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I mean, so even little things like that. It's either a buzz or this and a ponytail. That's my choice, right? So the stresses, though, will spill over in your relationship with your spouse. And so just be aware of that. And that's what we're going to talk about, how to not have that happen as much. Some people will have suicidal thoughts because they've lost their job. Their future is very, very bleak right now, and they might even think of that. If they had a weakness in their past or if that's something they haven't resolved. And so just be aware of these things. It's okay to feel them and think about it, but don't make stupid decisions. And sometimes we can get just so depressed or oppressed. It's like if you see somebody and their hands are hanging down, their head is slumping, and this is too much, I just can't do this. That's our inner man. That's how we feel inside. It's like, I can't do this anymore. It's too much. Hebrews 12:12 says, strengthen the hands that hang down and the feeble knees and make straight paths for your feet. So God says, okay, shape up, guy, stand up and get going. Find a path and go through this. Don't give up.
So we are in a pressure cooker situation. I think it feels like to people. We're being pressed on in different ways. But this is the good part about it, is it's like an oyster, and when a little grain of sand gets inside of an oyster, it gets in the shell and it's all enclosed and there's pressure in there. What the oyster does is it starts forming a material around that little piece of sand, and before long you have a beautiful pearl. So God is refining us. We are being refined in the middle of all of this. It's very important to pay attention and watch and see what kind of pearls are going to come out of this, because there will be some. So Hebrews 12:11 and 15, it says, God uses outward pressures to teach us, correct us, refine us, and mature us. The pressure of this does not feel good when it's going on, but it yields good fruits. So use these experiences as an opportunity to grow and learn and shore up your marriage foundation. So we're going to talk a little bit about some coping skills and solutions. We're going to use the acronym TALK, T-A-L-K.
And the T stands for turning toward your spouse and toward each other. So when you're don't want to have anything, but if we turn toward our spouse, you get a kiss out of the deal. If you turn toward your spouse and share, that's what we want to do. And when you turn toward your spouse should turn toward you.
You need to turn back, yes. Okay.
Turn back. Don't turn away. Because sometimes in the frustration of stress, we want to turn away and quit or go the wrong direction. And before you start interacting with your spouse on any subject that you're concerned about, if you're really upset, we would encourage you to vent and to take it to God first so that the pressure doesn't burn them or scald them. A pressure cooker, we've got this new Instapot, and when you release that pressure, you got to stand back because that's going to scald you. Well, the same thing can happen in a relationship. When you dump your concerns on your spouse, you can scald them and hurt them. So take it to God. He can handle all the steam that we can vent, and that's where we need to go with it. Or find a quiet place, something that works for you. For me, exercise works. When I exercise, I relieve stress. Sometimes I'll pick up my guitar and just worship God. That relieves stress. Those things work for me. Find something that works for you. And then after you pray or you take a walk or play the ukulele or whatever works for you, find something that relieves your stress. Then get back and connect with your spouse.
The second one is A for action. And this is really important. You can take action individually and also as a couple. And you don't want to be in a rut and just be sitting there. So focus on the good, avoid the bad. Avoid the bad news. Don't spend too much time in front of the TV or surfing the internet or on video games. It's good to reconnect with family and friends online, though. Do what you enjoy. Hobbies, walking, surfing, yard work, doing repairs. Go out and enjoy God's creation. On this island, we live in the most beautiful place on earth. Go enjoy it. Sit in it. Do what you didn't have time to do before. You might have some projects that need to be done. Closets need to be cleaned out, filing, all that stuff we don't want to do. But you can do it then. You can try and do something new you've never had time to do before. I've been doing watercoloring, which is really fun. So the other thing that's really important, though, is you need a routine. We've had 7 or 8 weeks of this. I don't know how many more weeks we're going to have, months. You need a routine. You need to be getting up at the same time, around the same time every day, going to bed about the same time, eat about the same time, eat with each other and your families. Don't eat alone. And try and do 2 activities a day. Two activities a day at least. You don't have to be regimented, but just have a routine. Get out of your pajamas. Do not stay in your pajamas. Too many people are.
That's very important.
Yes. And do it together. That's the main thing. You can do something different if you're bored. We were bored, I don't know when it was, a couple weeks ago. So we went down to Kona and we went to swimming. We went snorkeling to Kahaluu. So we got out of the car, went swimming, got back in the car, because that's all you can do, right? And then we drove down to a marina by the Sheraton, and we had a tailgate lunch and sat and watched all the activity, and we had a wonderful time. We got out, we did something different. It didn't cost us anything at all. It was great fun. So do something different also. Guard your mind and think on things that are good, praiseworthy, lovely, pure and noble, not on what is going wrong or creating the stress.
We have this one little thing that we do, and we've been doing this for quite a long time before the COVID-19 virus issue, but we go down and take a walk, but we'll stop along the ocean, and I'll hold Cheri's hand.
Oh, sorry.
I mess up your paper. And I'll say, okay, now close your eyes. Okay, now just listen to the sound of the trees, the wind in the trees, and the sound of the ocean. Just listen. And feel the breeze on your face. And smell the water, smell the air. And then we open our eyes and we see all this beauty that God has. It's okay. The other thing that we need to do in talk, the L stands for listen and share. And for women, listening is one of the most important things that their husband can do. To just listen, not to try to fix and solve all their problems, but to listen to them and with empathy and caring. And for men, we want to fix everything. And I'd like to meet the guy that can fix the virus, but I don't think we can fix it. But we can do the little things inside our marriage that we can tune up inside that. And when you share with each other and you listen, be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to share how you really feel, what you really think. Don't say, oh, I can't share this or that because he or she will say this or do that. You have to be open and vulnerable, and each of us needs to validate what the other person feels and thinks. Whether you agree or disagree, validate, oh, okay, I understand, that's how you feel, oh, that's what you think. And if there's disagreements, and there will be, compromise. Don't use disagreements as an opportunity to fight. Compromise and find peace in some way to go forward together. And Ephesians tells us to put away bitterness and anger and wrath and evil speaking. And under stress, that stuff wants to come right out there. All that wants to come right to the front. Put it away, it says, and be tenderhearted and forgiving one another. So take all that bad stuff and put it away.
And the K is for kiss. You need to kiss each other. Do you know that kissing is very, very intimate? In fact, Lex likes to kiss me.
That's my cue.
It's one of the most intimate things you can do is kiss somebody. Physical touch is so important. Be sure and touch each other, cuddle, hug, hold each other. This gives you comfort. It'll ground you. Create romance. Go back to when you first met. What is it you liked about your spouse? You know, what was it that brought that romance on? So you can do, kiss again means keep it simple, by the way. So you know what the other person likes. So do little love tokens for them. Show them that you care. You can do a dress-up takeout dinner. Go get a takeout dinner, get dressed up, bring it home, and have a candlelight dinner. Write a love note. Bring coffee to your spouse in the morning, in bed. Cook a special dinner. Go to watch a sunset. Notice the good characteristics of your small tokens of affection will increase your connectedness. It brings forgiveness, kindness, and love. This is so very, very important. One of the things that Lex did, I was feeling kind of down one day, and we were driving somewhere, left our driveway, and Lex stopped the car and went over to a plumeria tree and just picked a couple blossoms off for me. And that brightened my whole day. And then I noticed one day he wasn't doing very well, so I gave him a little massage, and he liked that too.
I'm ready for another one.
Yeah, I'm sure. So just think about doing that. Remember, kiss is so important. So again, we have talk, turning towards each other, action, keep busy, listen and share, and then kiss.
And in closing, we'd like to encourage all of us to spend time with the Lord in prayer and in worship and in His Word. Stay connected with Christian friends and fellowship, whether it's on the phone or online or in person, because that strengthens your foundation in Him, and that will help you in all things. You can meet in groups of 10 or less, and so take advantage of that. We've been doing that, and it's been a wonderful blessing. And New Hope Waikoloa is going to start the life groups where they'll be doing just that. They'll be having online connectivity with a pastor and also getting together for other types of fellowship as well. So get involved in one of those. And in the middle of all of this, we're probably asking, we ask, where is God in all of this? And does He care? And why is this happening anyway? And I don't know why it's happening, but I know He cares, and I know He hasn't moved or gone anywhere, so He's still in control. And there's a scripture that comforted me, because we see decisions being made around us over which we have no control whatsoever. But we have to realize this. Proverbs 21:1 says this: the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. Like the rivers of waters, He turns it wherever He wishes. So God knows the decisions that are being made, and He's well aware of it, so He's still in control. And in Jeremiah, when Judah was being led captive into Babylon, and they were leaving their homes, their fields, their whole life, and in a terribly depressing situation, being led captive to a foreign land. Terrible external pressure, right? Worse than what we're going through. God says through Jeremiah this to His people: for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. So in all that's going on around us, that's His thoughts toward us, even though we don't understand it, and it's tough and uncomfortable. He still is in control. He is our rock. We can stand on Him.
Watch for all the blessings and silver linings and the pearls that are going to come out of these experiences. Shore up your foundation, keep your marriage safe, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and Lord bless.
Yeah.